asking me to speak today. I'm both honored and embarrassed to be standing here this afternoon. I am honored because being able to represent the outstanding men and women of the Medway Police Department gives me a tremendous amount of pride, and to stand before you in a place where I was raised and where I raised my family is heartwarming. The Medway community has time and again demonstrated its compassion and support for one another, and I truly love being a part of it. And your being here today is yet another example of that compassion and activeness to promote a better life for all peoples. Yet, as I said, I also have a sense of embarrassment today as well. Not for who we at Medway Police are, but instead for the failures of our law enforcement system nationwide. The failure to listen, the failure to learn, and the unbelievable failure to protect and preserve the lives of those like George Floyd. Make no mistake about this, George Floyd should absolutely still be alive this day. His murder at the hands of those sworn to protect and serve our fellow officers is both tragic and criminal. The treatment and persecution of any person, particularly people of color, is wrong on every level. And we must never make any attempt to justify it. Our mission as police officers, whether in Minneapolis or right here in Medway, is to preserve life, to treat everyone equally, and to protect, the very basic freedoms that are afforded to all of us, regardless of race or ethnicity. As law enforcement officers, we must remain reminded always that the law of our society, the laws that bind us and guide us, are to be applied evenly across all citizens and not disproportionately applied because of the color of one's skin. And most specifically, those laws apply to us as police officers as well. George Floyd's murder was repulsive and senseless, and as such, we must therefore allow his legacy and the legacy of those who have died at the hands of misguided law enforcement officers to live on and serve as a message that change must happen, and it must happen now. As long as even one person of color fears a police officer, or worse, is the object of police violence, then we will continue to fail our profession and fail our communities. We must not let that fear and oppression continue. I've served as a police officer here since 1982 and as your chief since 2007. I've been very proud to serve alongside a group of incredible officers during my time, and today that is absolutely the case. The men and women of the Medway Police Department embody the truest sense of professionalism and are outstanding public safety officers. They are part of our daily lives, whether providing guidance to our youth, comfort to our seniors. But be assured, they, like me, are not at all accepting of the criminal behavior that occurred in Minneapolis or in the community where racial and ethnic defensiveness and disparate treatment is occurring today. They, like me, feel a sense of failure when the profession that we have chosen, the profession at its very center is to serve others, is corrupted by those who have a hole in their souls, and we choose to intentionally harm, oppress, or disrespect any person. And they, like me, are committed to working with our community leaders and residents alike to improve the work we do here in Medway, as well as across our state or nation. Every idea is welcome, and all are worthy of consideration as we look to come together to support our citizens. As you gather here today and beyond tomorrow, this week, this month, and so on, please be assured that I will work along with my peers, our legislators, and our citizens to eradicate racism from the ranks of the law enforcement community. I will listen to any and all ideas to break down barriers for greater understanding and compassion. I will support the creation of state and national civic task force to bring about better policies and procedures for policing going forward. And I will pledge pledge that any and every bad cop is identified, disciplined, and removed before he or she can ever create that type of harm that has too long gripped our minority community. There's no place in law enforcement for hate and discrimination, and we must make a point to ensure that our police and government leaders convey that such actions and attitudes are met with zero tolerance. George Floyd should be alive today. May he instead rest in eternal peace, and may his killers receive that maximum punishment that they now deserve. And may they and any misguided or immoral officers be deservedly haunted by the memory of George Floyd and all of the victims of police violence before him. And may we work always towards a new day of peace and justice to ensure that no one else will suffer at the hands of a bad cop. I just want to thank you all, and may you always be safe. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is fantastic to see so many people here this afternoon. August 28th, 1963, nearly 57 years ago. Think of the incredible advancements in technology we as a nation have seen since then. We put a man on the moon. We brought worldwide information in real time to the palm of your hand. We have created virtually every imaginable convenience any person could dream of. And we've made incredible advancements in medicine and healthcare. But we as a nation and a people have still failed to completely eradicate the most deadly killer of all: hate. On August 28, 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. proclaimed his amazing "I Have a Dream" speech in Washington, D.C. And some 57 years later, we are still gathering for the same basic goal that he publicly wished for: that all people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Such a simple concept, but to date, we have failed to achieve it. Until now. It is time that Dr. King's dream is our demand, our obligation, our reality. As we gather here today, we do so for a variety of reasons and causes, but all with the same mission: to create change. We gather to advance the cause of Black Lives Matter. We gather to mourn the loss of George Floyd and all who were murder victims of hateful police officers. We gather to recognize the oppression of so many people of color and minority groups at the hands of a society that acts superficially instead of love with fellow man. We gather to recognize not only how fortunate we are here in Medway to have an outstanding police force, but to have community leaders who will listen to suggestions for meaningful and beneficial change and implement good change. And we gather today to pledge our willingness to a community to unite for one and all for one. Regardless of why each individual person came to this place today, always remember you did so to proclaim as one voice that when it comes to protecting the rights of one, we will demand the sanctity of the rights of all. I have worked in 4 communities over the past 25 years, all great towns, but none measure up to the residents of Medway. This is a truly special place with truly special people. There is never a time when this town and its citizens have failed to rally around and support a neighbor in need. Never. My family roots in Medway go back over 100 years, and without question, the camaraderie that existed then is even stronger today. Among those amazing qualities of this town is the professionalism dedication, and compassion of our police officers. Their commitment to serve is limitless, and they have demonstrated that time and again. And most importantly today, I am confident that the leadership and officers of the Medway Police Department will work collaboratively with all of us as systemic reforms are discussed, developed, and implemented. The time for change is now. Across this nation, it is abundantly clear that we have some serious work to do to improve our law enforcement and criminal justice systems. And while it is not to say that we in Medway claim perfection in policing, it is my hope that the successes we have witnessed here can be a model for others to embrace. At the outset, I noted that we as a nation have failed to eradicate hate. Hate is the killer of all that is good. Today, we again stress and shout from the rooftops that hate has no place in Medway. Instead, I have a hope today, right here, right now, that we embrace and proclaim respect at all turns and in all things we do. Respect of everyone, especially those who have a difference of opinion. Respect of all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, and so on. Respect. It is perhaps the most simple thing that each of us can foster to make for a profound and lasting change. I want to thank each of you today for all that you do for our community. On behalf of our Board of Selectmen, several of members here, and all of the men and women who make up the greatest municipal team in this Commonwealth, I thank you and pledge to you our leadership, our partnership, and our participation as we go forward today. Dr. King's dream has yet to be fully realized. May we be the agents of change who will help to make that happen. Thank you.